Hello and welcome to the December Continuum of Care Board meeting for Seattle King County. And I hope everybody had a good Thanksgiving and a good holiday. And I hope that you got to spend time with your family and that everything went well. Of course, can be a stressful time for some people. So wanted to make sure that we said happy Thanksgiving and thank you to all the board members for being here today. Before going into roll call, I believe we want to start with a land acknowledgement. Elizabeth?
I had it in front of me. The King County Continuum of Care Board acknowledges that we work on the unceded traditional lands of the Coast Salish peoples, especially the first peoples of Seattle, the Duwamish people. The original stewards of the land, past and present. We honor with gratitude the land itself and the Duwamish tribe. This acknowledgement only becomes meaningful when combined with accountable relationships and informed action, and is the first step in honoring the land that we today sit on and their peoples.
Thank you, Elizabeth. Appreciate that. Moving on to
Ruby, can I ask, we don't see the captioning anymore?
Darlene's recording, it said,
Darlene's, yeah, she's there.
but we don't see it.
I can see it.
Well, we can't see it in the room, and it's important because Christina
Christina's in the room.
is in the room.
I think. Are you looking for it on Zoom? Add the show captions, and that should be the one that will come up. The live captioning.
Go look into more. Thank you, Kelsey.
There we go, it should be fine. Somebody speak.
hello, 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 hello.
Okay, I don't see it.
Okay, it's on now.
It's on now. Thank
Okay.
you.
Testing 1, 2. We're good?
Thank
Yeah,
you.
we got it.
Got it.
Awesome. Thank you guys so much for making sure that was good for Christina there. And I wanted to actually, great segue really quick before doing the theory of change, make sure that we are talking slowly so the CART captioner can capture all of the words that we are saying and to identify ourselves. And that especially goes for me, who I know I'm a speedy talker. So going to hand it over to Dr. Sam for the theory of change.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Dr. Sam. I am a CoC board member, and I'm reading the theory of change. If we create a homeless response system that centers people with lived experience of homelessness, then we will be able to respond to needs and eliminate inequities in order to end homelessness for all.
Great, thank you. Catherine, do you want to call the roll?
Yes. Dr. Sam,
Present.
Tamara Bauman,
I'm here.
Here.
Amaya Lenora, Elizabeth Mobin,
Here.
Dorsol Plants,
Here.
Ruby Tuesday Romero,
Here.
and Martha Sasarosi is on leave. Christina Sawicki,
Here.
Victor Liu,
Here.
Amy Thomas.
Here.
You have quorum, you have 9 members present.
Okay, great. Pulling up the agenda. Oh, I guess the next thing that we would do is vote on the meeting minutes from last month, correct? So, would anybody like to make a motion for that?
This is Zsa Zsa. I motion that we accept the meeting minutes from last month.
This is Christina, I'll second.
Okay, great. That was a motion made by Zsa Zsa and Christina seconded.
Elizabeth's hands raised.
Elizabeth, go ahead.
I just wanted to say that there is an error on the second page where it says cross county. instead of cross-cutting.
Okay, so we'll go ahead and accept the minutes as amended then?
With correction.
With correction.
Well, with corrections. Thank you. I'm learning the jargon. So then the motion was made by Zsa Zsa, seconded by Christina with the, what was it, the amendments? I'm sorry.
Correction is how you say it.
Correction.
With the corrections, do you want to call the roll? Or we'll do a voice vote. I'm sorry. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Not hearing any. Is there any abstentions? Great. The motion carries. Thank you. Dorsol, am I handing it over to you now?
I think we're to that point. Although I was running behind, I apologize to everyone, so I don't have the agenda pulled directly up. But we are moving into at least one board action that we will take today. It sounds like there may be more, but public comment is first. Thank you, Kelsey. Since I'm off mute, did we receive any comment in writing from the public, Catherine?
So we did not.
If you are here attending the meeting in person and would like to make public comment, if you could please put your hand up or indicate to the staff that you would like to make public comment, now would be the time. Zsa Zsa, I see your hand.
Yeah, I just want to make public comment about the NOFO. I'm outraged and at how many people are going to be affected by it, right? And I'm just hoping that we can figure out how to backfill some of that and get a better system. You know, I think it's a shock for everyone. And that's my public comment because I am outraged over this NOFO thing. Thank you. Back to
Thank
you, Dorsol.
If there's anyone else that would like to make public comment, and throughout the meeting, you are always welcome to use the Q&A function through the meeting to ask any questions or to request further information from us or KCRJ. All right, seeing no one, slash Zsa Zha's public comment is, I think, a really excellent segue into kind of our next agenda item, unless I'm forgetting another agenda item. So I will pause for Catherine or Kelsey to correct me.
Nope,
Okay.
you're good.
Thank you. So I do want to start off this section by just saying how grateful and humbled I am to be in a virtual room with each and every one of you. I think all of us are very aware that, you know, within the last few weeks, there have been some frantic changes made at the federal level. And at least for me, it's felt in some ways like our continuum has had to move into survival mode as we really truly think about how to protect and serve the people that are our neighbors, that are our community. And I just want to say that there will be difficult decisions ahead, but the fact that our continuum, that the CoC board is led by people with lived and living experience, it gives me hope. You know, each and every one of us has had to make a hard decision today to give us the hope for a better tomorrow. And so I believe everyone is here for a reason. And I think the difficult decisions that we will have to make to survive some of these changes, I can't think of a better group of leaders to do it with than those of you here with lived and living experience, because you've had to make the difficult decisions. You've had to choose survival today for hope tomorrow. And as we do our best to protect our community, protect the people that we love and care about, that is really some of the mindset and the experience and the expertise that at least I think that we will need as we start to make some difficult decisions. And so really excited and humbled, although I am outraged, but I can't think of a better group of leaders to be taking this challenge on. And I'm truly honored and humbled to be with all of you. And so I think we have some slides ready. Kelsey, would it be possible to have you share them? Thank you. We can go ahead and go to the next slide. So as we think about supporting KCRHA and the CoC membership and responding to these unexpected and unprecedented NOFO process, at least for me, the reality of what we're doing feels a little bit like a game of hungry hippos. We know our values and our support of database solutions, are going to have an impact on our rating. And so it feels a little bit like hungry hippos, in that our goal right now, as we support everyone in responding to this, even ourselves, is we need to gobble up as many points as we can. Doesn't matter what the points are, where the points come from. The more points we have at the process, the more that we can speak to in our application, the more challenging it will be to take points away from us. And so today, our board has a real opportunity to have a direct and meaningful impact on the potential points that we'll be collecting as part of our rating process. Next slide. So listed on the slide, you'll see here a potential for us to receive up to 4 points if the CoC board includes additional viewpoints that are not currently represented on the board. That would be 3 elected public officials, 2 law enforcement representatives, and 1 business representative. If you recall, our intention was to open up the recruitment process. We wanted to complete the charter update, but the reality of the NOFO process, we can move forward with opening up the recruitment, and we can focus on including some of the voices that we had already identified over the summer that we needed to include to better support our community, and potentially bring in an additional 4 points as we move forward in the rating process. And as you can see, these are a little bit harder to take away because it's a yes/no situation. Does the board have this? Yes, no. Does the board have this? Yes, no. And so there's a real potential here if we just rush the process that we were going to try and do correctly, that we can potentially add in those additional 4 points, which can make a difference. Next slide, please. So why do 4 points make a difference? Well, and a lot of times it depends on the game you're playing. 4 points can make a difference, though. So KCRHA staff kind of helped us look at some of the numbers from our last NOFO process. And the highest score received, so basically the top score getter, was at 185.5 points. The average score, basically where the majority of our fellow CoC across the country fell, was about 151.5 points. We were at 153. So even though it's only 4 points, oh, it looks like they're changing some numbers. The math carries through in this here. If we had received those 4 points, we would have been at about 157 points, which you can kind of see here from the slide would have actually put us towards the higher top end of CoCs throughout the country. And so, like, even though we're only talking about 4 points, and it sounds like 4 points, they really can make a difference, and where we land kind of in the group and in the herd. And so it's a real opportunity for us to include voices we knew that we needed on the board, while also bringing in additional points that we haven't received in the past. We can do this thoughtfully. We can do this with the compassion and the accountability that we've always taken our actions with. But if we speed up our process just a little bit and bring people on before the NOFO application, we have a real strong possibility of at least securing additional points. And remember, in hungry hippos, it doesn't matter which ones you get, just as long as you have the most number of balls that you can get at the end of the game. Next slide. Oh, wait, no, I'm sorry. Ruby, I was going to turn it over to you briefly if you had any thoughts or context that you would like to add first.
Yeah, just really quickly, thank you for this, Dorsol. It's been really helpful to kind of see how this all is panning out. Like, you know, you mentioned 4 points can make all the difference. 1 point can make all the difference if you're the Mariners, right? So I'm still not upset about that at all. Traditionally, like the composition of the board has been more determined by like the membership as a whole through either the charter, which is why we were, you know, reviewing the charter, and we're going to wait for board elections until then, after the charter was finished. But you know, this year's a little different, and so we need to just roll with the punches, they say, and do, you know, like the hard decisions that we have to do. But I also wanted to share that I felt in my research of doing the CoC governance and how all of this is kind of coming together, I've personally held the belief that we've needed some sort of representation from elected officials on the board, just be able to communicate the narrative to their constituency and just actually have meaningful conversations where we could kind of see the change. So I'm hoping that in including these partnerships and these different branches or organizations is going to be crucial to the work that we're doing in order to spread the narrative that we have and the understanding that we have of homelessness and how to serve people that are experiencing homelessness with these people that could potentially take that to other spaces that have not thought that through. And so I'm hopeful that we will see some outcomes that will move the needle forward, or, you know, move the needle a little bit rather than just, you know, just, it seems like it's a complete, you know, 180. And I think in some cases it can be a complete 180 in this case with the current NOFO, but that's why it's important to secure our front line like where we can. And so hopefully that's some helpful feedback, or just how I see it. Thanks, Dorsol.
Thanks, Ruby. If we could go to the next slide. And so we're at a point where we would like to request, oh, I'm sorry, there is an additional slide. I forgot one. So this is the recommended timeline that we are looking for doing the recruitment process. It is fast. I want to assure you, though, that our intent, as always, is to stick to our values as far as recruitment and things like that go. But we would basically be opening applications tomorrow through the 12th. We would need to form a work group that will do some application reviews, and that work group will make a recommendation to the CoC membership by December 22nd. We'll be having a candidate forum for candidates to introduce themselves, ideally on the 3rd. I'm not sure if we've fully scheduled that, but that's the goal. And that will also be where we'll vote for new members. And while this timeline is fast, this aligns with the NOFO application deadline. So we would be able to bring on the new board members before we submit the application, which is what we would need to do in order to be eligible for those points. Next slide, please. And so today we are asking for a motion, basically as described here on the slide, but to open and targeted CoC board recruitment based on the timeline that was previously presented, and to set up an ad hoc selection committee of 5 CoC board members and 1 to 2 KCRHA staff support to review applications and prepare the candidate forum in late December. Elizabeth, I see your hand.
What's the total number we're recruiting?
6 as of right now. It would be 3 elected officials, 2 representatives from law enforcement, and 1 business representative.
And sorry
That
to
would complete our maximum?
To answer your question, no, I don't believe so. Catherine, can you confirm would 6 put us at maximum?
Well, we can go up to 19. So
We'll be all right.
we'll be
Yeah.
good.
It'll
And
be
I
the
do-
max, yes. At 19, we have 9 now or 10 now, is what I think we're asking.
We have 11.
Oh, we'll be fine.
Yeah, then that, okay.
Yeah, it would take us to 17.
So if we
This is
have some
Christina. I have
extra
a
good
question.
candidates, we could probably fit them in as well.
And I was just going to mention that with the charter, once the charter is finished, you know, we're still going to be doing recruitment then too as well. This isn't the end of recruitment. It's just a situational aspect that we have to accomplish before the NOFO.
I'm just thinking we could use lots of hands.
That's why we're recruiting, yes.
I saw Zsa Zsa's hand first and then Tamara's after Zsa Zsa.
Christina's
Christina.
hand
Oh, I'm
first.
sorry.
That's what, going back to that, this is Christina, going back to that slide where it says, go back 3 slides. One more. What, yeah, right there, elected public officials, so could it be an elected public dog catcher? Or, I'm serious, what does it specifically say what it has to be? Because there's a lot of elected officials in our community. And so it could be if we have an elected dog catcher or those, you know, there's a lot of other electives. So is there a description of that in there, as well as law enforcement representative and business representative? I would not, I'm for voting for this, but in the next, when we put this out, could I see a description of this? So I know who to submit this to and ask to join, because if it says this type of business, this type of law enforcement, this type of elected official, then I know I can get it to A and B and C may be an elected official, but they're not what they're looking for. I don't know if it's that specific.
I can
So
answer that if you would
I
like.
can at least, great mind thinks a lot, I think. Yeah, go ahead, Kelsey.
Pardon me, Dorsol. There is not yet detail or further description of what each of these representation slots means. Usually we get more detail around what HUD is seeking when they publish the consolidated application detailed instructions. Those have not been published. So going off of what we see typically in the 24 CFR 578 and other kind of governance guidance that HUD has published, elected public official would be anyone who's been publicly elected to an office. So it may be broad.
Catcher.
I don't know if a dog catcher is an elected public official, but I get where you're going.
It can be anybody, because this is Christina. I'm thinking this would be a great opportunity, to maybe approach Nicole Macri, real specifically, who's got her heart in this, and some others statewide that really have, that are state but located here as well. I wanted to make sure we weren't talking about Seattle, King County, as in Seattle and the King County, you know, so I wanted to know if there was that kind of detail that we could open it up.
Yeah, and I think, you know, school board members are publicly
Yeah.
elected, judges are publicly elected in our state. I do think we want to be mindful of our commitment to our community and ensure that, like to Kelsey's point, like dog catcher might not be the most ideal person to serve on our board, but a school board member, especially in a district that is serving a lot of McKinney-Vento students, would be an extremely highly valued member. I do think one of the things, and I should have mentioned this sooner, as soon as we open up recruitment, our hope is to have all of you reach out to those contacts and those people, you know, because we want to bring on people that are ready. We're in the middle of a heavy mission and responding and protecting our community, and so we need to bring on people that align with our mission, but are also ready to get into the forgive the expression, but ready to get in the foxhole today. Tamara, I see your hand.
Yeah, I'll keep my personal feelings out of it, but like I really I like the idea of this grouping. As you know, I'm trying to think of it coming in from it as somebody with like different marginalized identities. I personally would like to be on this ad hoc committee so that
Me too.
I just because I'm very hesitant about law enforcement, and I just need to reframe that in my mind. But like I think it's going to be very important to closely monitor who it is that we're electing to the board, and to ensure that they are in fact housing first forward, that they are well-being first forward, and that the health and stability of our community is still rooted in our values. But yeah, so I would move to stand this up. And I would like to volunteer to participate on that.
Dorsal, point of order. I was next in line. And thank you, Tamara. I wanted to ask Kelsey, since the NOFO, and I see 130 points for this year, and 4 points makes 134. Is there any other place in the NOFO that we need to look at to raise points? Because I'm really outraged. I read it and I feel like wherever we can do to get the points, because it's kind of like crabs in a bucket, right? We're all reaching for these points, and and so I just want to make sure we as the CoC do our due diligence in getting the most points so that we can continue to house those who need to be housed. And with that 60% and 30% disparity in PHS, public, permanent housing, supportive housing, PSH, I want to be also on this ad hoc committee. I feel like I'm down with doing that, but I'm also down with those particular people have the same interest in what the mission of the CoC is, right? Going forward, because we don't want to just bring on anybody. We want to bring on those who are like-minded and have the same heart and passion for the mission we're seeking. Thank you, Dorsol.
And we are lucky enough to say, for example, our county executive has lived experience as an immigrant and a refugee. So like this isn't just an opportunity to bring on an elected official, but an elected official that is a part of the community that we're serving even. Kelsey, did you want to touch on more NOFO points, or do you want to talk about that as part of your presentation?
I'm happy to briefly touch on it now. So the total available points is 130. That's inclusive of those 4 points. So without this on our board, our potential total then becomes 126. So we're just kind of thinking about where we maximize that. What is called merit review this year is very different than we have seen in the past. There are some areas where it will be impossible to get the points that are allocated by HUD. And it will be nearly impossible for majority of CoCs to get the points that have been allocated by HUD. So this is one area that we've identified as we can very easily do this to increase our competitiveness. There are not as many really straightforward ones. We have been looking at the local competition process. That's another area that is a total of 9 points that we have been really diligent in reviewing and ensuring that we are matching what HUD was wanting to see as close to a T as possible. And I would say that and this are 2 of those spaces that we have a stronger grasp in order to predict that outcome.
Yeah, if it's okay, I'd like to add a couple of things too. When it comes to the dog catcher thing, Dorsal, I think those are absolutely part of the homeless response system. Just wanted to give a quick highlight because they deal with a lot of people that unfortunately have their dog in the pound. And so I think it would be great to have a dog catcher on here. Yeah, and I like dogs. So the other thing I was going to say is I'm thinking maybe we should ask for volunteers at the end of this vote. And because maybe I'm hearing a few people that are definitely expressing interest. And then when it comes to the law enforcement agency side of it, I'm hopeful we could collaborate with people like LEAD or maybe one of the community service officers, or a judge again could play into this position. There's a few options there that are not necessarily direct law enforcement interaction, if that helps, Tamara. And thank you.
Thank you, Ruby. Actually, I don't want to say it that way. I'm not against dog catchers in general. Elizabeth, I see your hand.
Yes, Kelsey mentioned something about local competition, and we tend to hear from our people that what we need is more collaboration. What is the importance of the competition, and how does that work with our value of collaboration?
HUD requires that we do a local competition to identify what our priority list for funding for CoC funds will be. It has been a HUD requirement for a very long time to do what is called a local competition for funding. This is for renewing and new funding. So it is a HUD term, and it's a part of the NOFO process.
In other words, we're stuck with it, right?
It is a requirement by HUD.
Okay, so we have to ask people to pit themselves against each other. Okay.
Yeah, there's a couple different tiers of how we designate where the money is kind of going. Absolutely, yeah. And I looked at the program rule, there's no way around it.
I will say I'm hearing more and more a hunger and a drive to figure that solution out. How to like, and I think that's something that would be great for us to explore in the future of like, what does it actually mean to have a process that ensures good projects without compete. Yeah. We are to the point now where unless there's any additional questions, we have an additional question in chat. Is Victor asked if the selection committee will be conducting interviews or just reviewing applications due to the rapid timeline. I know there's candidate forum, but Kelsey or Catherine, will there be a chance for the work group to interview candidates with the
Provided the timeline, I would not recommend that. We do have the review matrix that was used last year to review applications that we would provide for the selection committee to use. And then the candidate forum would be an opportunity for candidates to speak directly with the CoC membership. And that may be the opportunity to hear from folks more directly. And if the selection committee wanted to put together a handful of questions that each candidate would be asked to respond to during that candidate forum, that may be a way to kind of create a balance between a one-on-one interview and the forum, given the timeline.
Thank you. I like the idea of the committee preparing, or the work group rather, preparing a group of questions, just because as somebody with social anxiety, it's helpful to have kind of a guide. There's a question in Q&A.
It's a really good one.
Yes. Has the CoC considered reaching out to Department of Corrections officers trained as community correction officers? I believe that is something that Catherine has been working on. And if you know of any direct contacts or if you have further suggestions, we would be happy to receive them by email or email option.
We do have a CoC member that is the Department of Corrections.
Yeah.
Would someone who worked with the drug court be considered law enforcement? Okay, have a contact.
Yes, and that like I really, and I don't want to belabor the point, but that's part of the rapid turnaround is we will need everyone here, CoC members, board members, staff members reaching out to get applications because we want a good crop of candidates. Unless there's further, Catherine, that's an amazing offer in the Q&A that I'm sure you will follow up on. Unless there's any other further questions or points of information or points of order, it would be wonderful and appropriate for someone to make a motion if someone was interested.
This is Christina. I move that we open up selection for the next couple of weeks for to find, I can't see the list to read off the numbers. The law enforcement, elected officials, and the third one, business representative for, the Continuum Care Board to look at and then make a voting decision on at the end of the month.
I second that.
We
Okay.
have a motion by Christine and a second by Zsa Zsa. Elizabeth, was your hand up to be a third, or were you going to ask a question?
I was trying to second. Zsa Zsa was first.
Yeah, we have a third by Elizabeth. Are we comfortable with a voice vote on this one, or would we prefer
No.
roll
No,
call?
roll
We need to
call.
do roll call.
Okay.
Mhm.
Catherine, if you would please assist us with a roll call vote.
Yes. Dr. Sam,
Yes.
Tamara Bauman,
Yes.
Zsa Zsa Floyd.
Yes.
Amaya has not joined us yet.
It
has
can
she?
be. But they can be.
Elizabeth Mopin,
Yes.
Dorsal Plants,
Yes.
Ruby Tuesday Romero,
Yes, sorry, I was on mute. Thank you.
Christina Sawicki,
Yes.
Victor Liu,
We can figure out how to get in that chat.
Yes.
Amy Thomas,
Yes.
you have 9 yes votes. Motion has passed.
Thank you.
Thank you. I do see we have a public attendee with their hand up. Would it be possible for you to use the Q&A function?
You see if it's somebody who needs to be elevated?
Public comments done.
Well, thank you all for the vote. It sounds like there is some interest, and should we go ahead and ask for volunteers for the ad hoc work group?
Dorsal,
We've
we
had-
have 3, oops, sorry. We have 3 so far. Tamara volunteered, Christina and Zsa Zsa.
I would also like to volunteer, and it looks like Victor would also like to volunteer.
Is there anybody on?
Is that one more? We have room for one more?
That's 5. That's 5.
Okay.
Tamara, Christina, Zsa Zsa, Dorsal, and Victor.
And we will, of course, keep you all up to date and share with everything. But please, everyone you know that you think can fill that role, applications will go live tomorrow. So yeah, wonderful. Well, thank you all for that. And I think I'm turning it back over to Ruth. No, I'm not. It's up to me. So we are on to the point of the agenda where it's the end of the year. So we're just going to call it the holiday spirit. And that's why I'm not here. We'll just move on to the committee reports and updates. I did want to share one kind of general update. Due to the Hungry Hippo game that we are playing with the NOFO right now, and just the chaos and capacity requirements to really protect our community, there's a decision that has been made to temporarily pause most of the committee and work groups that are moving forward. This is not to say that their work is not important or even essential or critical to the work of the Continuum. We are just in a all hands on deck situation with the NOFO. And so if you have any questions or concerns, either as a board or a member of the public with that, please feel free to reach out. But we have suspended all of the committees and work groups except for the co-chair planning meeting, because we still have to have this meeting, as well as the system performance committee. And I believe the coordinated entry committee, that's also been paused.
No, that has not been paused.
And so we will have time to receive reports. Kristen, it looks like maybe you're ready to give a report on System Performance Committee.
Yeah, I need to head out. I got my kids in the car.
Oh, then yeah.
Yes. From our November meeting for the System Performance Committee, we wanted to say the System Performance Committee oversees policies and procedures related to HMIS standards, metrics and evaluation, and ranking for the annual CoC competition. On November 19th, the SPC committee voted to approve for KCRHA as the collaborative applicant to make the necessary changes as needed for the ranking and rating and ranking process so that we could be as competitive as possible on national standards with the FY 2025 NOFO. So that is the update from the System Performance Committee.
Thank you very much.
Any
see.
questions for the SPC?
Next meeting, I'm sorry, I didn't hear that.
Any questions for the SPC?
When's the next meeting?
Oh, our next meeting. Our next meeting, I should believe it is the day before my birthday, which is December 17th. And you have to look that up.
Well, happy early birthday.
Thank
Right,
you.
happy birthday.
I believe unless there's any questions for system performance, we'll move on to the co-chair committee update. Ruby?
And you didn't have me logged in already, so
Okay, did we want to start with the coordinated entry committee or did we want to go directly into co-chair committee?
We don't have a coordinated entry committee update.
Better. So I will go right into the co-chair planning meeting as planned. So we were doing a little bit of an adjustment. We were kind of leaning towards doing a board retreat this month instead of having a board meeting. As we all know clearly, because we are here today, we had to opt into a board meeting just to take care of some of those things that we needed to take care of for the NOFO. Notice of funding opportunity. And so we are hoping to reschedule that retreat for the next month or the next coming months in order to do planning for 2026. We also were just discussing navigating the NOFO, and once that was dropped, kind of discussing what that means for our region and how we can make sure we secure the points that we can secure, which is why we're here today discussing a little bit more about what we can do for the board and for the CoC as a whole in order to get a better score and secure the funding that we can, as well as, what am I forgetting? Oh geez, I know I'm forgetting something. Let me pull my notes up. I'm so sorry. Oh yeah, we were navigating the board recruitment process, talking about what kind of organizations we could reach out to, departments we could reach out to, and how we were going to communicate it to the board. We also had, I thought it would be nice to share that we did have the convening in a couple weeks ago, and that went really well. We did have a really robust discussion for our first workshop in the ballroom that we did, where we were discussing solutions, and there was a few prompt questions that I really enjoyed, and I got to know my table partners really well. So it was a really, good community building experience. I also attended the afternoon speakers panel, which was very helpful to get some context from different departments as well, different work people are doing. And I took a ton of notes, so hopefully we'll be able to synthesize those and distribute them as soon as they are ready to go. And it's just really, I wanted to say thanks to the convening work group that did put in so much work, and Catherine for putting in all the work to get that Bellevue location solidified. It was beautiful out there, and 10 out of 10 would do it again. So there was even music. We got to play a little music. It was great. So that's kind of the co-chair planning meeting updates. If I'm forgetting anything, Dorsol, please feel free to chime in, but as stated, we're pausing 2 work groups. We're pausing the cross-cutting policy work group and the charter revision work group. We will see those both start up once the NOFO has been submitted and we're able to have capacity to do those again. I promise.
Tamara,
Hey, this is I just wanted to comment on the convening. It was such a beautiful event. I too enjoyed like the table discussions, but what really got me pumped up was the music and the art and the Polynesian representation. The first guitar, like the person Poe, I recognize him from the Washington State Low Income Housing Alliance, and like that's yes, I love this. I love the like the diversity and the beauty of multiple communities coming together to form this beautiful tapestry of social justice. No matter what comes down the pike, no matter what comes, we are standing in solidarity, and I love it, and I love this conversation. And you know, I'm dorking out over here, but you know what I'm, you know, my heart. Oh.
All right. Well, thank you all. We are surprisingly ahead of schedule. That's always potentially a good problem to have. Unless there's any objections, we could go ahead and move into our 5-minute break now and then come back. So I have it as, we'll call it 2:48. So if we want to be back by 2:53. Oh, Catherine, your hand's up.
Yeah, I just wanted to make sure we saw the comment from Victor in the chat.
Oh, the PIT committee and the NOFO work group are also active, and the charter revision work group will resume on January 16th, 2026. I'm really glad to see that there's actually like a firm date for the charter work definitely needs to happen, but all hands on deck.
Right, exactly. Yeah.
Thank you for sharing that, Victor. Victor, the fashionable taskmaster. If you did not get an opportunity, in addition to a beautiful venue, Victor was very well dressed. Best dressed CoC board.
Gotta stay, right? Always one up in the rest of us. No, I'm just kidding. I love it.
Right. I'm now seeing that it's 2:48, so I'm going to call it 2:49 and say we'll be back at 2:54 because I can do math. So we'll be on break till 2:54.
All right.
Okay. It is now 2:54. As you come on to the meeting again, please turn on your camera for a second to show that you're present. And we'll get started here in just a minute. Okay, well, I see everybody on the call, so pretty much with the exception of one or two. So we'll go ahead and get started. This next segment is going to be a little bit more in-depth discussion about the NOFO changes and what's kind of coming from this year's NOFO. It's the one that we've all been looking forward to, I'm sure. And I think that Kelsey's going to do a really great job explaining it. So, you know, as always, but Kelsey really knows this through and through. And so if you have any further questions, go ahead and ask Kelsey. Okay, take her away. I don't know what I'm talking about.
Thank you, Ruby. Let me pull up my slides. All right, and I'll move forward. Hello, everyone. Kelsey Beckmeyer, she, her pronouns. I am the CoC manager with KCRHA, wanting to provide you all updates around the 2025 NOFO, things that we know, things that may be pending, and kind of how we are planning to move forward. So I have a lot of material prepared. I will have spots where I'll stop if there's any questions. So know that I will not just rattle through all of this, but try to take some time to pause to ensure that any questions you have can be addressed to the best of my capability. So first, want to share a little bit around what we do know. So every year, historically, we have had to complete a NOFO, or a Notice of Funding Opportunity, to renew and apply for CoC funding. This has generally been focused on renewals and renewing the amount of money that we see from HUD each year. This is called the annual renewal demand. Up here it is the ARD. The annual renewal demand is the amount of funding that we had from our fiscal year 24 grants that are up to be renewed with HUD for fiscal year 25. That amount is $65.4 million. What's not included in the annual renewal demand is $1.5 million of the CoC planning grant. So the total that we received from HUD in fiscal year 24 was $67 million. This year, in the publishing of the NOFO on November 13th, we saw that there were some federal caps that were put into what we can apply for in the renewals. The first is a 30% cap for permanent housing. Permanent housing is being defined in the NOFO as permanent supportive housing, rapid rehousing, and joint component projects. These are combination projects that are transitional housing and rapid rehousing. The other piece that is noted is our Tier 1 amount. So Tier 1, for those of you who may be familiar with the NOFO, is the amount of funding that is usually the guaranteed renewal amount. This is the amount that we can be quite confident will be coming back to our community in the NOFO process. This year, Tier 1 is set at 30% of our annual renewal demand. Historically, this has not dropped below 85%. Last year, it was 90%, and in fiscal year 23, it was 93%. So this is a significant reduction in Tier 1, which is the secured funding for CoCs. HUD this year is also allowing for new project types with bonus dollars. Previously, bonus dollars have been reserved for permanent housing projects, including permanent supportive housing, rapid rehousing, and those joint component projects. This year, the kind of promoted new projects in the NOFO include transitional housing and support services only projects, either a standalone project, think case management, housing navigation, or street outreach. These have previously not been allowed new project types with CoC bonus dollars. The graph on the right side, at least my right side, it might be on not your right side, is a breakdown of how our funding currently is and what projects those go to. Note that in this graph, I have joint components separate because joint components have not been included in the lump of what HUD calls permanent housing. In the NOFO, they are including that in permanent housing. The majority of our funding goes to permanent housing. 85% goes to those rapid rehousing or permanent supportive housing. This is just a numerical breakdown of our current portfolio. So this is the FY24 amount that we are currently receiving from HUD. With the 30% cap on permanent housing, we are just under $41 million above the cap. So this is money that is at risk of being lost or needing to be reallocated to other projects during this year's local competition. I want to provide a little bit of legal context for everyone as we kind of walk and talk through all of this. Back in April, HUD shared or released FY24 grants that included new grant terms and conditions that were not included in the FY24 NOFO. There was then a lawsuit, King County v. Turner, that granted a temporary restraining order preventing HUD from imposing or enforcing new NOFO conditions related to executive orders, anti-discrimination law changes, immigration enforcement, collaboration or verification, gender ideology, and abortion-related requirements. This has been extended to our current process. So we have struck any associated certifications or attestations that are being asked of for project review during the local competition. Those have been crossed out. On December 1st, the National Alliance on Ending Homelessness and a number of other plaintiffs, including King County, filed a lawsuit against HUD asking for the FY25 NOFO to be rescinded and the FY24-25 NOFO, for those who may remember, the FY24 NOFO was to be a 2-year process to be reenacted. That is currently pending. It is only December 3rd. So we have not heard about what the impacts of that will be. We are preparing for multiple scenarios and needing to move forward with the local competition as detailed in the FY25 NOFO, as there are a number of deadlines that have to be met per the NOFO. And we want to ensure that no matter what the outcome is, we have successfully met the deadlines that the collaborative applicant is required to meet. So again, this is the annual competition for both renewal and new CoC funding. Applications for the local competition are due to KCRHA on Sunday, December 14th. This is a very quick deadline. Part of this is driven by a deadline in the NOFO that all project application materials must be to the collaborative applicant no later than 30 days before the due date. That due date is January 14th, 2026. So this is what we are using to kind of drive some of these due dates. We are giving ourselves a day cushion because a few materials that support the local competition and information we need from project applicants has not yet been published by HUD. This includes the detailed instructions for new projects, renewing projects, and other kind of types of projects that may be going forward. It's a lot of jargon, so I'm not going to try overload you too much. Should those be published between now and the 14th, we will get supplemental questions out to applicants and posted. If it's not between now and the 14th, we are hoping that that material is available by the 15th to have a very quick turnaround. In the application submission, we have noted this for any applicant that we may request additional information to complete project applications in the grant portal called eSnaps. Awarded funds for new projects would begin mid-summer 2026 at the earliest. HUD has indicated that the earliest that they would announce who has been funded would be May of 2026. We also note that inclusion in the local application and the local process does not guarantee that HUD will fund it. So we will not know what the final decisions are for the FY25 competition until May of 2026. I want to provide a little breakdown of what kind of funding is looking like, what we are applying for, what new money is available, or bonus money. I want to be really clear that any bonus dollars is not new funding that HUD has provided. There's an additional amount of funds that have been allocated by Congress in March of 2025. But this was funding that was allocated for other projects and brought into the CoC competition. The total amount of funds available for all CoCs also just meets renewal demand, but without fair market rent increases or cost of living increases that are detailed to be provided in the NOFO. So the amount of money is not going to cover every single renewal for all CoCs, plus all bonus projects that CoCs may put forth. So I just want to be clear that bonus dollars doesn't mean it's new money or extra money. Our annual renewal demand, again, is $65.4 million. Our tier 1 cap is $19.6 million, which is the same amount as our 30% permanent housing cap. There is available bonus that we can apply for. And that bonus total, the maximum in new projects that we can apply for, is $13 million. We do anticipate upwards of $36 million in money for new or transition projects due to the permanent housing cap. We know we cannot put forward more than $19.6 million for permanent housing projects, and therefore we are going to have an additional nearly $36 million available for new projects. There is also a DV bonus amount. This is for specific projects serving folks fleeing or attempting to flee domestic violence, sexual assault, and stalking, and that is $2.4 million. Each year, HUD lists their funding priorities and project priorities. And these are usually focused on what they're wanting to see CoCs at large focus on, as well as individual projects, particularly the new projects that a CoC puts forth in their priority listing. The ones that I want to kind of call attention to are ones that have the strongest impact on projects and services that are provided to folks who are experiencing homelessness or have been in housing by these projects and have experienced homelessness in the past. There is a prioritization on treatment and recovery, wanting to see that all projects offer on-site behavioral health care. And in addition to that, that all projects require participation in support services. The other is advancing public safety. This particularly pertains to any support services only projects. HUD is wanting to see that projects and applicants are partnering with law enforcement and first responders when working with folks who are experiencing unsheltered homelessness. The final kind of big piece that I want to highlight is a much more focused lens on increasing employment and income for folks who are in projects funded with CoC dollars and exiting. They want to see an increase with partnerships to workforce systems, childcare, as well as employers. Just wanting to share again, and thank you to Christina who shared this in the committee updates, but we did meet with the System Performance Committee on the 19th. Part of this is in order to meet these HUD priorities, as well as some of the project threshold and rating requirements that we'll detail in a moment, we had to update our rating and ranking criteria for all project types. That is renewing projects and new projects. We went to the System Performance Committee to seek the ability to make those changes. If you'll note, this has been a very fast timeline. HUD published on the 13th. We sought the approval from SPC on the 19th. Today is December 3rd. We published all of our applications on November 26th. And in between there, we had holidays. So it's been a lot of work, and we are doing as much of our due diligence to ensure that you all, the committees and the governance structure with the CoC is as well informed and supporting and navigating these decisions alongside us. So just a thank you to the SPC for their day change of the agenda to allow us to come and talk about this. So after that 19th day, we went to work reviewing our kind of rating and ranking process. And this is an overview of where we landed and what that process will look like once applications are in and we are doing our rating and ranking. I'm going to be a little repetitive here, so please pardon me. So there is a new project compliance check. Typically, we need to ensure that new applicants will meet federal, state, and local standards to be contracting. So we are including kind of a quick compliance check. Applicants need to adhere to the rules that we have noted, otherwise their application will stop there. This is to ensure that they would meet compliance to be a grantee of federal dollars. The second review will be a threshold review. This is outlined in the NOFO based on different project types. So applicants must meet some minimum requirements based on the project type. So if it's transitional housing, if it's rapid rehousing, if it's support services, there are different threshold reviews for each type of project. All projects need to meet those project specifications and questions. If they fail to meet those minimum requirements, they will not move forward to rating. Our rating will be done by a panel of raters to determine a score based on the applications. For renewal and transition projects or replacement projects, these are renewing projects that are going to change their project type. Their final score will be a combination of HMIS and data-driven scores and the application that they submit. The final step after the rating will be ranking. Ranking will also be done with the rater panel. That panel will put together our rank order priority list. And the kind of prioritization of projects will follow the following criteria. First, we will go on a score-based rank. From there, we will review the funding type request priority order. There will be a priority placed on our permanent supportive housing projects, not to exceed 30% of our annual renewal demand. Part of this is, one, to ensure that the homes that people are living in are not destabilized. And two, there is deep local and state investment in many of these projects that without CoC funding could cause further destabilization of projects. The kind of second funding type priority will be on renewal projects and transition grants. This is so that we can keep as much current existing CoC funding going to current existing CoC projects. And transition grants are a part of that. This is a current funded project that is seeking to change its operation type and its project type. So for example, this may be a rapid rehousing project that is changing operations to be a transitional housing project. We want to be able to prioritize those. We will finally prioritize the new projects. Again, if scores change that order, we want to look at what those scores are and maintain as much of that objective review as possible. The next factor in ranking that may move someone's rank order is around the threshold review. The minimum criteria is the minimum. So if there is a project that has a lower score but meets all of the threshold review criteria, it may move higher in the rank order. This is in part due to some language in the NOFO that stipulates there may be grant conditions put on grants that do not meet all threshold criteria. So we are including this in our ranking process to align with what is in the NOFO. The next thing that we will be reviewing in the ranking process is that if we are seeing that all projects serving a particular population, for example, domestic violence populations or youth populations, if we see that those are all rated low and scoring low in tier 2, the ranking panel may choose to move a project higher in the ranking in order for that to have a higher likelihood of funding, so there are continued services for those populations. This has been a process that has been done in the past to ensure that we are not putting all of one population's projects near the bottom of our ranking. Finally, if there are additional funds available, so we don't have enough projects to apply for all the funds that are available, we may offer additional funding to transition grants or new projects to have an expanded budget if that's possible. We shall see. Before I move forward, I want to pause if there are any questions. Ruby, yes.
Hi, Kelsey. Thank you so much for giving us this update and this thorough in-depth look at it. My only question just refers to how we're funding HMIS and coordinated entry. Is that, needing to be in tier 1? Do we know yet? And if it is in tier 1, does that affect that 19 million that goes to permanent supportive housing?
That's a very good question. So one, our HMIS and coordinated entry grants are not rated. They do get ranked. Historically, those have been ranked in tier 1 as those are required systems and vital funding for our system to function. That will be a decision made in the ranking process. If we put those projects in tier 1, that means that some of that 30% permanent housing cap dollars could go in tier 2 and put those projects at greater risk of not receiving funding. This is going to have to be a discussion during rating and ranking. The National Alliance on Ending Homelessness created a decision-making tool that we will orient all of our raters to help guide that decision-making. So that is a little bit to be determined.
Okay, great, thank you. I'm glad that the discussion is going on though. Thank you.
I'm seeing a couple of questions in the chat. How soon will slides? We'll have the slides posted when we get the meeting minutes and recording posted as well, and we can likely send the slides out to the board after the meeting. I see Catherine nodding her head. Victor is a question of how prescriptive is on-site behavioral health services. It is not detailed much yet in the NOFO. Further details are usually provided in the detailed instructions. So we may know more. What I can state is that the provider does not need to be licensed. It may be through a partnership. So what is being sought are letters of commitment, letters of agreement, contracts, other things just indicating that either the organization themselves provide this directly or they partner with someone to do so. And as we get more information, we'll share that out with applicants. And I see Zsa Zsa's hand in the room.
Thank you, Kelsey. This is Zsa Zsa. My question is for clarity. So tier one, the maximum money given to tier one is that 19 million?
Correct.
And is that, and so it's equal to the cap on the PH?
Correct.
Thanks. Wow. Okay. Thank you. Crabs in a bucket.
Right in my moving forward. All right. Want to talk to you not both, there's more than two of you, about the applications and just kind of processes and information there. So these are there are multiple application types this year. So it's a little complicated. I'm calling it a little brain puzzle. But there are new project applications. So new projects may seek funding through the CoC kind of general bonus dollars or DV bonus dollars. All applications have been released as of November 26th. They will be submitted through a Smartsheet form and a fillable PDF. There's also a Word document available if organizations need the Word document. The eligible component types for new projects for the CoC bonus include transitional housing, supportive services only in the form of a standalone project, a street outreach project, or coordinated entry, and HMIS projects. A note that some of those would not be for new coordinated entry or HMIS, but for expansion, so for additional dollars. The DV bonus, the available project type, is transitional housing. So those are all the new projects that will be accepted and reviewed. We next have renewal applications. Renewals are all of our current funded CoC projects. Those were also released on November 26th, submitted via Smartsheet. We have included in the submission an attestation related to potential legal proceedings. There is an affirmation that if the 2024 process is enacted, that the project would want to go forward as a renewal, and that we would use objective rating criteria that was used last year and update that objective criteria based on the current performance timeline. Renewal applications also have the ability to put forward responses for transitioning. These are for transition grants. This allows a project during the course of an operating year to move from one project type to another. So for example, to move from rapid rehousing to transitional housing. We are asking all renewing projects to submit their renewal. And if a project wants to be considered for a transition project, to answer the detailed transition grant questions. If a project that is a permanent housing component, primarily rapid rehousing or joint component projects, if we exceed the 30% permanent housing cap and their project does not meet that 30% cap, if they do not answer the transition questions, their project will not be submitted to HUD. We are not allowed to submit more than the 30%, and if we do, that project and its related funding would be removed and not reallocated to our continuum. So this has been shared with all renewing projects. Our YHDP, or Youth Homelessness Demonstration Program projects, also have to be rated and ranked this year. The only other year they have been competitively renewed was in 2003. They have a similar attestation regarding the FY24 process, and they have the opportunity to apply to be a replacement project. This is very similar to a transition grant. The timeline to change is different, and it's different terminology with HUD. But in the renewal application, we have included replacement project questions that will indicate a project would like to be put forth as a replacement project. The similar provision regarding the 30% cap, and if those questions are not answered and we exceed the 30% cap and they don't meet the threshold, then that project would not be submitted to HUD. I'm going to pause before we get into talking about the merit review. Any questions? Dorsol, yes.
It's not a question for me, but it looks like Christina joined the attendees and had a question and was asking if she could be unmuted.
Yes, let me quickly stop sharing my screen so I can go and do those pieces properly. Christina, you should now be able to
unmute. Yes, this
thank-
is Christina. So all those particulars, whether it be behavioral health as well as the employment and stuff like that, is essentially TBD. Is that what I'm hearing?
some of
Like-
the particulars. We do know that there are a request for documentation for some things, whether that be through submitting a lease, a service agreement form, an MOU.
Mhm.
I can't even tell you what an MOU stands for right now. My goodness.
Memorandum of
Understanding. Oh my
Yeah.
gosh. There's just too many things in my brain right now to hold everything. So we know a little bit, but there aren't if there are specific definitions around what is on-site behavioral health care. We do know that HUD would like to see attachments in the form of MOUs, contracts, partnership agreements, letters of support or commitment. Yeah.
Well, my concern, how long, so will they have agencies, orgs, etc.? They'll have enough time to submit. This is also quick. I'm worried, especially the one small org that does attend the SPC. If they have a week to gather documents, if a staff member that needs to do it's out that week, they're screwed. Does that make sense? And so is it all looking that it's just going to be like, I don't know, flash fast that everything's going to be? Because I have some really great concerns about that.
Yep.
That we're going to have enough time.
Your concerns are very valid. It is a very fast timeline. We unfortunately are not able to extend the deadline, as project applications have to be to the collaborative applicant 30 days before the NOFO is due. And that is not something we are able to change. And if we did change that, we would risk losing some of our merit review points.
Okay. And then my last question I have is, what about the veterans programs?
We want anyone and everyone who's got a project idea to submit for a new project for CoC bonus.
Okay, so are we reviewing those too? Because we never hear anything. And I know veterans still get services, and I know KCRHA does something, but that's never been opened up and really shared with us at all. Are there programs that are just, I'm going to say exclusive, veteran exclusive, that KCRHA handles that are also being monitored?
For CoC projects, we do have a couple that primarily focus on veterans. Yes, it's not all projects, but there are a couple of projects that do have a veteran focus for our CoC projects. I'm going to stay very focused on CoC projects right now, not KCRHA writ large.
That's what I meant. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay. Nope. That was my question. Thank you.
You're welcome.
And then my one last thing with the employment piece, I was really reading that over and I read that quite a bit. You know, in this state, most of our employment services are state-based. They are workforce center, et cetera. They're state funded. Are we also building that bridge? Because when we're talking about employment, we really need to get the really heavy hitters that are doing employment and employment type services on board with us.
Yep. Catherine, our CoC coordinator, has been doing a lot of outreach and connection with workforce development boards and employment services over the last year. So she's really done a lot to build up the connections and partnerships that we've got. And our little CoC team has some plans in the works for 2026 on helping strengthen some of those system level connections with providers. So more to come. Amy. Amy, I saw your hand go down and I saw you come off mute.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, hi. So I apologize because I'm driving. Let me pull over here. I just actually attended the Department of Veteran Affairs, Washington Department of Veteran Affairs, so WDVA, Commerce, or Commanders something today. I can't, Commanders Call. And I got in touch with so many individuals. And one of the things, because I was in the group regarding houseless veterans, and they specifically addressed female veterans as well as the houseless veterans and the barriers that are there. And these are people obviously from all over Washington state. But I did meet directly with the liaison from King County. And he and I are going to be collaborating. And in our work group specifically, they talked about the NOFO and how people can get funding and different things. And so anyway, I just was really excited about that. So then with Christina's comments, I just want to say that I do have some connections that we can look into as well. And so that definitely is, you know, on the mind. So I'm glad that she brought that up. So thank you.
Awesome. And I'll just put a little plug on December 4th, aka tomorrow at 9:30. We have posted NOFO office hours for anyone interested in applying for NOFO CoC funding. And we have been kind of broadcasting that on our website and through news blasts. So really hope to see folks. And please, if you have folks in mind, point them to that meeting at 9:30 tomorrow morning. It's on our funding opportunity page. So we really hope to see lots of folks who are wanting to apply for new projects.
Awesome. Thank you.
Yep. Patricia, I see your hand.
Thank you, Chelsea. You did an awesome job. This is Patricia, CoC Board. And there was a lot said. I did put a in the chat. You might see the question. Can you just restate and give a quick overview? The agencies who have clients that are currently in permanent supportive housing, are they safe? And yeah, are they safe to remain in those sites, or are per HUD and whoever's regulating all that, will they have new or redesigning the type of housing and the resources for them? Kind of on that area. If you can, yeah.
That is a very big question
Yeah.
and a very big unknown. What I can say is that our community is and will do as much as we can to ensure that the impacts of this are little felt, particularly on those who are living in permanent supportive housing. I cannot tell you what will be in 6 months' time, but I can say that we have some fierce advocates, very smart leaders, and really kind of tenacious work happening to make this feel as small a shake as possible. That's what we are trying to do.
I appreciate that. And I guess what I'm asking, maybe the second, just to follow up on that, me as being a frontline case manager, and I'm hearing like in the air some of the concerns, and I feel that some of the clients are starting to hear this. What can I do or say to them? What can I do right now? Because I'm unsure. I don't know. And so I want to be able to like decompress and not escalate and have something to say. Do you all have any suggestions?
This is Kelsey, as a human, I think the best that we can do to support folks is to validate people's fears and concerns, that those are real. There's a reason folks feel uncertain, and know that they have folks like you, Dr. Sam, who are there to stand by, stand with, and support people. Anytime that we as individuals or as a community face uncertainties or face times where our values are being squashed, is when supporting each other, connecting with each other, and wrapping around is the most vital. And I think that's what something is super important for our direct line staff, because not only are they and you working with people who've been in housing who may feel unstable, it's also your jobs that are being impacted. So there is a dual experience of traumas. It's not only secondary or tertiary. Some folks are experiencing direct trauma because of these shifts. And that's very real. And I think as a case RAJ hat, we will do our jobs to the very best of our abilities to be as competitive as possible in this competition. And that is what we are here to do. We are here to write our hearts out, create as clear a competition, as clear a rating, so that there can be a sense of steadiness as much as possible. And we are one part of this puzzle. We have our city councils, our county councils, our state, our attorney general, our state attorney general, who are fighting in the courts. So there are multiple pronged efforts to try and ensure as much as possible that what is in this NOFO doesn't cause some really seismic shifts in our community.
Thank you for just that. It's very validating. And I know we have to go on. I just want to give a quick kudos out to my DESC work site. I'm a crisis outreach case manager. We're in the 988 going calls, and I just got flooded with an abundance of, like you said, trauma. People, they got laid off jobs. They need to pay their rent, and they can't get unemployment. Everything is backed up, and so there is a lot of evictions on the table. So right now, I'm thankful that there were some funds allocated in our agency here right now. I'm able to get the documentation and help people with their past rent to avoid being evicted and put out. It's one time, but that's something that we fought for. So I'm so happy that that's some help. So thank you all for all the work that you're doing.
Thank you for your work as well. Dorsol.
Thank you for the presentation. I want to acknowledge that this question may not have a current answer, or it might be a question that we're not allowed to answer, like with everything going on. But given that there are agencies like the Washington State Attorney General who has engaged in a lawsuit about the NOFO process, if that lawsuit were successful, like you all are doing an amazing job rushing to fill like the rapid pace need now. If the lawsuit's successful, while that may be good, are we going to have to rush to like put everything back, or like what what is like actually the best outcome for our continuum here, I guess, if that's even a fair question?
I will frame this with one, I am not a lawyer, so I can't fully, speak to the legal ramifications of anything. What I can say is that should some of the asks, meaning putting forward the provisions of the FY 2024 and 25 NOFO move forward and this one rescinded, the attestation I spoke about earlier for renewal grants is our way of still meeting a competition deadline and using just HMIS and spending data as the rating criteria. So we are hoping to kind of do that in one fell swoop through folks submitting a renewal application by the 14th. I don't know what deadline impacts or other things may come pending the lawsuits that have been filed. This is just kind of plan B. I do not know if we're going to need a C, D, E, F, or H yet. I can say that we've gotten pretty well adept at moving quickly and thoughtfully. So we'll continue to do that until we need to. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And just in case you didn't see it, it's not a question. There's a comment in the Q&A.
Okay. I'll pop it up. Oh, yep. Thank you, Christina. And there's a comment in the chat that have been answered. Okay. All right. I'm going to move us to talking about the CoC merit review. These are the scoring metrics for the consolidated application. This is the second part that we submit to HUD. All the first part that I talked about is around our local competition and our development of our priority list. That's part one we submit. Part two is our consolidated application. This is what is the merit review, and it is the score of the merit review that impacts what gets funded in tier 2. So again, the merit review, as we talked about earlier, this is 130 points total with some bonus point opportunities. So I want to walk you just quickly through a breakdown of those points. The first section is project review and ranking. This is 9 points. This is around our written process, so our written rating criteria and ranking criteria. We need to have at least 50% be objective scoring, and 25% of the total points that our project can get has to be related to returns to homelessness, employment income, and support services participation and agreements. So we have ensured that the rating criteria we are using for all applications is 50% objective minimum, and 25% of those points are based on those three sections. There are 6 points for us to make sure we do that. 2 points are provided if we have an open and transparent competition that is published and the scores are published, and that everything is, that we also notify all of the applicants of the outcome 15 days prior to the HUD deadline. So we have to notify everyone by December 30th. There is then 1 point if we reallocate funds from low performing projects to high performing, or at least have allocated a minimum of 20% of our total annual renewal demand between FY21 and FY25. So with our 36 million we may be reallocating, we may well get to that 20%. The next large section is on system performance. We have seen pretty substantial changes in how HUD is scoring and evaluating system performance. This has been a noted concern among many COCs. It's a total of 40 points of the 130. There are 17 points available for reducing homelessness. Historically, these points have been based on if you as a community have seen a reduction, typically in the 5% range. This has been increased to wanting to see a 20% reduction from 2023 to 2025. I am not aware of a COC that has had a 20% reduction in unsheltered homelessness in this time frame. They also want to see a 5% reduction in chronic homelessness and a total of both sheltered and unsheltered homelessness of 20%. Something I think is extremely important to note, especially as we think about coming years, the reduction in number of permanent housing projects, particularly I'm thinking about rapid rehousing, that possibly transition to be transitional housing. During a point in time count, those in transitional housing are counted as being sheltered homelessness. In rapid rehousing, that is housed. So part of the ask in this NOFO is asking us to substantially change our projects to have fewer permanent housing type projects, which may, by default, increase our homelessness count. It may not decrease the number of individuals. That same individual who is maybe in rapid rehousing or the same program that was operating rapid rehousing, that those units in the PIT count weren't included. But next year, those may be included to be seen as a homeless serving bed or unit. So there's some things that fundamentally just, this is my opinion, do not make sense. Those 17 points are going to be very hard to get. Another reason those 4 points on our governance board are so important. There is 1 point related to seeing a reduction in the number of the number of people experiencing first-time homelessness, a reduction in the length of time that people experience homelessness. There are 5 points. This is new, that see an increase in exits to non-subsidized permanent housing. This has not been rated in the past before, so this is a new criteria to see exits not just to permanent housing, but to unsubsidized permanent housing. 7 points to see a lower return to homelessness rate. This is also a greater number of points are allocated for the increase of exits with earned income and employment. 1 point for on-time point in time count and housing inventory count, as well as the longitudinal system analysis and system performance measures. And then 1 point if we have 85% of the available beds are in HMIS. The next section is on our CoC coordination and engagement. This is 81 points. So they look at our structure, having an inclusive board and open membership. I did not put the points here. I'm very sorry. There's 4 points for the board and the makeup of the board. And I believe it's 0.5 points for other measures, which include active recruitment and open membership that is published annually, and that we seek public input and feedback on a regular basis. We then see some services and systems. There are 16 points available for substance use disorder treatment access. There are also points based upon the population and how many beds you have available for detox, sober housing, etc. This is within the full geographic region of the continuum, not just CoC funded projects. There are 10 points available if 100% of your projects have a support service agreement. If it's 50%, you get 5 points. 10 points if there has been a 20% reduction in encampments in your geographic region. There are 6 points for coordination, veteran coordination between the VA and the coordinated entry system. 6 points around street outreach impact. A note that there is an ask to partner with law enforcement and first responders. There are 4 points each for if we have new projects that leverage other healthcare partnerships or other housing partnerships. There are 2 points each for our engagement with our ESG recipients, discharge planning, youth systems, domestic violence partners, and public housing authorities. And there are 13 points if we attest that we have in our jurisdiction, so that would be the county or the state, public safety laws that prohibit public camping or illicit drug use, that support involuntary commitment, and that there is Sex Offender Registration Notification Act compliance. Finally, there are bonus points that are available. There is policy preference points. You can get 4 points for either one of these. One is that your projects are within an opportunity zone. And the other is if you are using the SAVE system to do immigration verification. It is an either or. You can get those 4 points. We will be focusing on opportunity zones. Finally, there are 15 bonus points available for CoCs that have merged. So they want to see if you have merged as a CoC, that's a bonus. Typically, merging CoCs are maybe struggling or low performing. So this is a way to kind of support those CoCs. I'm going to wrap us up. I know we're getting close to 4 o'clock, but just want to do another wrap of the timeline. So again, December 26th, we released all the applications. Those will be due to KCRHA on Sunday, December 14th by 11:59 p.m. We have got to finalize the priority list and notify all applicants by December 30th. January 14th, we must submit the NOFO. The anticipated award announcements will come in May of 2026, and that is also the earliest start date for a new project. I do have an ask of all of you. With the priority list having to be posted December 30th, we are hoping to hold a special meeting on the 29th to review the priority list. We are also asking today for preemptive approval of the FY25 priority list, should there be any issues getting quorum on the 29th. We are asking this due to the tight timelines that we have, knowing that it is also holiday season is happening around the same time. Folks may not be around, may not be available. So we are hoping to ensure either way to have the board's approval of our FY25 priority list. And that's what I have for you today. Thank you for your time and your attention and your questions. Oh, I'm gonna go back. I'll go back to this. There was a chat.
Thank you so much,
Yeah.
Kelsey.
Zsa Zsa has a question.
No, I want to make a motion that we do this preemptive approval for the FY25 priority list. Because with the NOFO and the urgency, excuse me, captioner, my name's Zsa Zsa. With the urgency of the NOFO and the tight timeline of everything, I just trust us, because we are a unit. And I believe that this NOFO has this, most of us all up in an uproar, and that we want to execute it and get the best ranking so that we can keep those who are where they're at, you know what I mean? So I just wanted to make that motion that we go ahead and do this, not this preemptive approval for the FY25 priority list. Dorsol and Ruby, that's my motion.
Is there a second?
I'll
This is
second.
Tamara.
Amy Thomas, I second.
All right, there's 3. I love to hear that. So Dorsol,
Mhm. You have to do individual vote.
and maybe Tom. And
Yeah.
vote if we still have quorum. Let's move into a roll call vote if we still have quorum.
The room is muted, just so you're aware, Catherine.
Sorry, I thought I unmuted. Dr. Sam,
Approve.
Tamara Bauman,
Approve.
Approve.
Elizabeth Mopin,
Approve.
Dorsal Plants,
Approve.
Ruby Tuesday Romero,
Don't usually like to rubber stamp things, but approve.
Christina Sawicki,
Yes.
Victor Liu,
Approve.
and Amy Thomas.
Approve.
Mhm.
You have 9 approvals, motion passes.
This is incredibly helpful. I thank all of you. And Ruby, to your point, I don't want you all to just be rubber stamping things. This is a year that is very different. So just really appreciate the partnership and the work with you all. We will keep you as updated as possible. Would love to still hold a special meeting on the 29th. I know there is a co-chair planning meeting scheduled for 3 p.m. So if we could do it in lieu of that, it as an option. But I know Catherine will reach out to everyone around getting that scheduled.
And Dorsal, I see your hand. Give me 1 second. I just wanted to say, of course, I didn't expect that, that this was a KCRHA decision to have us rubber stamp. It makes a lot of sense this year. I'm sorry that we all have to kind of go through this process, but hey, we're doing it together. Like Dorsal said earlier, I know we've got some. Dorsal, go ahead.
I also just want to throw out there, because I think I share the same concern around rubber stamping. It's only a rubber stamp if we don't show up on the 29th. So if you are like me and you don't like a rubber stamp, let's live our values and be at the meeting on the 29th. Respecting that it is holiday rush and all of that. Just want to throw that. It's only a rubber stamp if we don't show.
Mhm, mhm.
Thank you for that. Did you want to take us out of the meeting today? I just wanted to give a quick announcement beforehand. On the 21st of December, there is the Day of Remembrance that's going on. Maybe Christina can share a little bit more about when and where that's happening.
Yes, I have forwarded the email to Miss Catherine, and it's Women in Black are putting it on, and it always occurs at sunset. So that, and the location, I don't know. It's on the flyer, so I apologize. I'm exhausted from today, so I apologize. But please, if you could come out, it's downtown Seattle. Though, if you could come out, I would love to. Last year, I was the only person who's ever been homeless or unhoused that showed up. And these are people, these are my neighbors, these are my friends that have passed. And so this remembrance is done, well, except for the Women in Black. The Women in Black have lived experience too, but nobody like from the boards and committees and other stuff I sit on. And I'd love to see you all come out and celebrate the lives of those who we are representing on this board, and those, to make things better so we have less numbers in the future. So thank you guys. And babies are welcome. Last year, Katie Wilson brought her little toddler. And so I want to make a note that little ones and our fur friends are welcome as well.
And I would encourage the board to consider attending. If you are planning to attend, and sorry to throw this on you, Catherine, but we do have to be mindful of a quorum. So if you're planning to attend the event on the 21st, if you could let Catherine know, just so that we can monitor that, Catherine will be able to assist you with that. And at least I know, speaking personally for me, the 21st is going to be really important this year. For many human cultures and traditions, it's the darkest day of the year. And so it's a reminder to all of us that no matter how dark it gets, the light always returns. And it'll start returning December 22nd, like it does every year. And the light will return next year for the people that we're supporting and the people we care about. Thank you all for your passion, your consideration, and your care. Please take care of yourselves. Have a wonderful holiday season. Please see you on the 29th, and we will adjourn at 4:01 p.m. Thank you very much.
Or please join in on the System Performance Committee on the 17th from 2 to 4. We would love to have more people there as well. And we're looking for new members as well.
Lots of work to do.